If you're a recruiter, you're just starting out, you are not a recruiter at all, my biggest advice is, hey, and welcome back. In this video, I'm gonna share with you 6 things that I use almost every day and every single week to help me find success as a recruiter. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Preston. I'm a technical recruiter at my own agency in, as you can imagine, the technical industry, working with IT and startups across the country. So before we get started, if you are as excited as I am, please consider like, subscribe, click that bell. It really means a lot to a fellow recruiter. Let's get started. Number 1, make an effort to move, sweat, first thing in the morning. I've tried so many different things throughout my career, from working out after work, working out in the middle of the day during lunch, and I find that number 1, it's very difficult. Number 2, it's stressful, especially if you're gonna do it in the day, you have to go back to the office. And number 3, after work, after a long, stressful day, most of the time, the last thing that you want to do is be able to go to the gym and get a good workout in. So for me, adding to that, now working fully remote, I think what really helped me is to just start off my day working out and just moving. And if I can't go to the gym, there are a lot of different things that I can do, from cycling, walking, running, jogging. Be creative, yoga, Pilates, because I find that by doing that, it really kind of creates a wonderful anchor in my day. And if I have a really rigorous and tough workout and I take a wonderful kind of shower afterwards, I freshen up, I just feel phenomenal. The dopamines are firing, the endorphins are firing, and I find that if you start your day and doing something grueling like a workout, nothing else would scare you the rest of the day, not to imagine the amazing natural energy levels that you're gonna feel, the dopamine, endorphin releases, that's gonna make sure that you're sharp on your game all morning and throughout the day. I'm no medical professional by any means, but I also find that from my own experience, having a really demanding and stressful job, it's really important to do whatever you can to just make sure that you can kind of stay sane. You balance out that stress and you really prioritize your mental health. I find that while working out is good for my overall health and heart and just my physical body, it's also wonderful when it comes to just my emotions and just overall mental health. By waking up early, by moving, you just feel phenomenal. Your brain is clear. You have a time range in the day that's uninterrupted, that's peaceful, where you can just focus on you and your health and your body, almost in a meditative kind of focused state, so that you can really plan out the rest of your day. And whatever is bothering you, whether it's something is really stressing you out that week, having a little mental release every single day can really just help balance out that extreme anxiety and stress that you're feeling. So for me, it's a wonderful anchor, wonderful kind of physical release, but also just a way for me to be able to plan my day, have my own Preston time every single morning, and be able to use it as a wonderful mental health tool where I can just forget about all the distractions and everything that's bothering me, focus on just having a great workout, go out in nature, breathe in some fresh air so that I can be reset and ready to take on the rest of the day. Number 2, you know me, I love matcha. My go-to brand right now is matcha. I'm not affiliated or sponsored by these guys. Frankly, this is one of my favorite brands on Amazon called J Leaf. But I've been talking about matcha for my whole life. I love caffeine. I also love, coffee. I love energy drinks, but I'm also doing my best to kind of put that on the styling as much as possible. As much as I love the taste with coffee, for instance, I do not like the crash that follows when you consume it, right? So as you know, if you drink coffee, especially with energy drinks with all that sugar, I even do my best to stay away from those. But what I find is sometimes you just feel like you're just going 200 miles an hour, and then an hour and a half, 2 hours later, or even sooner, you just crash and you feel like a zombie. And it's just very difficult state to be in, especially in a stressful, demanding job like recruiting. And so for me, I naturally switched into tea, specifically green tea and white tea. Matcha has been literally my consistent staple my whole life. Of course, it has a lot of purported health benefits, which I'm not going to talk about, but for me, what I love about matcha is that it's just a balanced flavor. You can mix it with anything, whether it's milk, whether it's just straight up with water. You can have it cold, you can have it hot. But my key reason why I continue to use matcha is because of the consistent energy release. It has a great flavor, you feel fantastic, and you don't crash afterwards, which is amazing because I need to be on my A game, not just at 9 o'clock in the morning, but also 5, 6, 7 p.m. in the evening if work requires. And so matcha has been my go-to. You mix it with boiling water and kind of use that bamboo whisk, or you can just throw it in your mixer, toss in some water, toss in some electrolytes, and just chug it first thing in the morning, which I know a lot of hardcore, authentic matcha users are probably gonna condemn or judge me on, but it's been my literally natural go-to energy source of choice without additional preservatives or crash or extra sweeteners and sugar. So if you haven't tried matcha, I highly recommend it. It's something literally I use every day. As soon as I wake up, I drink some matcha on an empty stomach, have my workout, feeling great, brain's firing, energy levels are optimal, and I'm gonna go on and start my day. Third thing, if you've been watching my videos, you know that a lot of times I look like this or I look like this. What you see here are just really, basic, cheap yellow lenses that I put on top of my glasses. And it's really for the purpose of blocking out blue light. I know that in this world, people think it's a gimmick, some people think it's a scam, and there's others like myself that swear by it. If you work predominantly in front of a computer most of the day, you would experience in some way or some sort of fashion, some sort of eye fatigue or even migraines or headaches from looking at the screen. And aside from doing what you can to take frequent breaks, look out the window to rest your eyes, I find that just my eyes can kind of frankly last longer and they don't fatigue as much by putting something like these on. And so again, have no idea about the science behind it. I tried these a couple years ago. It worked for me. I don't know if it'll work for you, but for being a recruiter where literally I live in a computer and that's all I stare at every single day throughout the week, like it's really important to also just make sure I take care of my eyes. A lot of glasses, modern glasses today have some sort of like similar feature already built into the lens. I know a lot of people also frankly would probably find this look really tacky looking and corny and cheesy, but for me, I use it mainly for work. And of course, sometimes when I talk to the camera, I forget to take it off, which is why, if you've been kind of curious why some shots I have this on, some shots I don't have it on, it's just, I forgot. But again, I swear by these. I love it a lot. I don't actually mind the yellow tint to everything. Sometimes I forget that they're still on my glasses. So when I walk out to the world, it provides like a very kind of, weak but natural kind of tint to the sunlight out there, which I don't mind. But I primarily use it for work. And if I'm, done with work at home, I'll just take them off. But these are great, super cheap. They also last like a really, really long time. They're only about, I think, 20, 30 bucks, maybe even cheaper on Amazon. And if you've been kind of looking for more of an affordable route to try them on, I highly recommend these. The next thing that I recommend is having an additional screen. So whether you work at a desktop, at home, whether you're primarily working from a laptop like this, I find that especially for our jobs as recruiters, we're always looking at so many different tabs, different profiles. You have a calendar here, email here, candidate profile here, client notes there. And for someone that was like a freelance recruiter for a long time, just working for myself, I also just love the flexibility of traveling a lot. And so even if you aren't a freelance recruiter, if you have a full-time recruiter job and you primarily work from a laptop, I highly recommend that you invest into another screen. It could be any other additional screen out there, but one of my favorites I currently use is this. It's called the Asus ZenBook. It's a little bit on the pricey side. It probably goes from like $200 to $300. But what's cool about this, and the reason why I got this, is number one, let me just show you. It looks like this. It's really cool. The reason why I got this is it's actually a portable USB external screen. So what that means is, as you heard from me saying earlier, I love to travel and I love the flexibility of recruiting from New York, recruiting from California. If I have to go, to Europe, or if I go to Mexico, or wherever I go, I can still have an optimal work setup that can allow me to perform at the highest level. And so what I found is that to me, the Asus ZenBook is one of my favorite, one of the best, doesn't really lag, really great picture quality, where I can have two screens, not only at home, but also whenever I travel. It's almost literally impossible unless you pack it back into a box and travel with a traditional desktop monitor. Whereas here, it fits into your suitcase. Sometimes it fits into a larger backpack, and I love it. And ever since I got this, if I have to do work with just one screen, it just drives me crazy. I feel so confined and claustrophobic. And it's just a great, privilege to have two screens, especially when you're not at your home office. So I think it's really cool. It's not going to break the bank. It lasts a long time. It's, I believe, compatible with MacBook and PCs out there. I love this so much. And if you love to travel and you don't want to be able to make any compromises with your work setup, I highly recommend you check that out. The next thing is time blocking. As a recruiter, we're juggling so many different things at the same time. Screening candidates, closing candidates, talking to clients, negotiations. Like, There's so many things happening. And when you're a recruiter in the beginning, it's really difficult to figure out how to optimally structure your day and time so that you can kind of get through everything you have to kind of get through and make sure you're still on top of your desk, especially if you're running a full desk. So for me, what time block means is I resort to a certain time range within a specific day to kind of focus on one or two specific activity. How I structure my day, very, very high level, is I make sure like my mornings consist of really important, critical, high touch points or fires. If candidates are nearing final rounds, we're expecting an offer, or middle negotiations, I try to do that first thing in the day, unless the candidate's not available or the client's not available in the morning. Anything that requires really higher brain power than just the monotonous, like smaller tasks that you do, I try to also resort through the day. And of course, as recruiters, most of our afternoons will be, consisting of basically sourcing for candidates and also screening for candidates. So I always make sure I have at least 2 to 3 hours every afternoon just restored to screening candidates, and also a handful of couple to several hours every single day where I can just be focused on sourcing or targeting or outreach. And then by just doing so, it's great. You never have to be kind of confused on what you have to do. You never have to kind of be worried about like doing the wrong thing at the wrong time. Never have to worry about figuring out like, am I doing the right thing? Like not knowing what to do. Like none of that happens when you have clear time blockings. Any other miscellaneous admin, small things I try to do, end of day on the weekend, but majority of my day is really focused on just clear time blocking and clear just boundaries on sourcing, screening, high touch points with clients, high touch points with candidates, and any really big fires. And I try to do like anything else whenever I can, whether it's super early in the morning or push it back end of day, or if it's not really that important, try to push it off to later in the week or on the weekend. Last but not least, and this I think applies to every job, is you just have to be consistent. Once you're past the honeymoon stage of every job, you'll start getting to a good rhythm and your cadence of like what you just have to do every single day, every single week. Aside from meetings, every job has a core group of activities that you just have to do. And the excitement wanes off really, really quickly, especially when you're in a sales role or sales type of entrepreneurial role, like for example, agency recruiting. It's really important to be consistent because you can get a spike of deals here. You can get clients dropping you or candidates ghosting you here. If you aren't consistent, then your performance will also not be consistent. For recruiters like us, for sales professionals, where our livelihood is basically based solely on commission, or most of our income comes from commission, whether it's commission only compensation plan or salary plus commission, it's really important that we have to produce on our top game consistently. And the only way to do that is be consistent and not try to ride the highs too high, not try to be depressed or hit by the lows too low. Just keep showing up, even though you don't want to sometimes. Just keep showing up every single day. Focus on all the core activities, things that you really need to focus on, and just keep your head down and do the work. Because by doing that, your performance will be consistent, your desk will be consistent, and it will just basically, mitigate all the crazy outliers that you have, and will just make you emotionally and psychologically more composed and stable to always focus on what you have to do that day, the next day, the week, and the month, without taking off the pedal too much of celebrating a handful of deals here, or getting too depressed or down when you lost a couple of deals here. It's all about consistency. So whether or not that you want to do it, whether or not you're tired, or you kind of want to slack off a little bit, especially on the agency side or on the sales role, it's very important just to be kind of consistent and do the right activities over and over and over again. And speaking of consistency, don't give yourself a 1 to 2 week milestone. Don't even give yourself 1 to 2 months. I think consistency means 6 months, greater than. Give yourself at least a year to be consistent. That's where true effort, true performance, and that's where you can really start seeing like what you're really capable of, and your true potential will slowly start to shine, assuming that you put in that work and be consistent. So for me, as a recruiter who worked many, many years just by myself without talking to any teammates or colleagues, it required even more focus and discipline, especially working from home, where I just had to put in that same work every single day. And this is something that I just hope to kind of show through our Week in the Life video. So if you're a recruiter, you're just starting out, you're not a recruiter at all, my biggest advice is just be consistent. It's so easy just to kind of let off that steam after a couple of good deals. It's so easy to be depressed and down, and then just throttle down your performance. If you get a little rejected, or you get emotionally down from a lot of people ghosting you, or a lot of failures and rejections, just try your best to kind of create more of a baseline level of consistency, and I promise you it will pay off long term. Hope that helps. Hope you try out some of the things that I suggested. These are, critical things that have helped me and continue to help me perform as I'm getting older, as I'm continuing to progress in my recruiting career. And we'd love to also hear your expertise as well, or anything that you do that has helped you tremendously, as I'm always looking for other things and other ways to just optimize my performance and my overall well-being. So hope this helps. If you like this video and want to see more like it, feel free to again support a fellow recruiter. Give us a like, subscribe, click that bell. Really means a lot. Feel free to also follow me at _Park, as I try my best to also post behind the scenes content daily. Thank you so much again. We'll see you on the next one.